All right, third graders. Today we are going to be moving on from just focusing on time to the nearest hour to now time to the nearest half hour. Okay, trying to get this box at the top to go away. Oh yeah, it did. Okay, so let's keep in mind that there are two different types of clocks, digital and analog. Digital clock is a clock that you're going to see on the stove, or on the microwave, possibly even an alarm clock. But an analog clock is what you're going to see in the classroom, and that is what you'll need to be able to read by the end of third grade. Okay? So we've seen this before, but just to touch base again and to refresh your memories, the long hand is the minute hand, and in this case it's green. The short hand is the hour hand, and in this case it is red. Okay, remember that minute is actually a longer word, which makes sense for the minute hand, to also be the longest out of the two. The hour hand is shorter out of minute and hour, and so you can keep that in mind when you look for the hour hand. You can think of it being the shorter of the two. All right, when the minute hand is pointing to the 6, as you can see right now, okay, because it's the longest hand that's pointing to the 6, you read it as half past. So the minute hand is pointing to the 6. The hour hand right now is between the 4 and the 5, which means that it's 4. And so you can read this clock as 4:30 or half past 4, because if you think of fractions, let's see if I can get my pen to be working. I've yet to do this, but let's see. So if you think of, oh, it didn't work. All right, well, I guess it's just not working right now, which is fine. But if you think of dividing the clock in half from the 12 to the 6, okay, then that will help you thinking of fractions. The half of the clock is going to be at the 6 or at the 30. Okay, so you can think of it being half past a time. There's 60 minutes in an hour, so half of that would be 30. Okay, and when we read it at the 6, we say 30 minutes. All right, here, the minute hand is still pointing to the 6. Okay, and we read this time as half past, but now the hour hand, instead of pointing between the 4 and the 5, the hour hand this time is between the 9 and the 10. So it's actually 9:30 or half past 9. Remember that the more the minute hand moves, the closer the hour hand is going to get to the 10, but it's not quite to the 10 o'clock, the 10 mark yet. Okay, so right now it is 9:30 based on this clock. All right, I want you to pause this video or just take a moment to think about what time is it based on this clock. You are correct. It is 3:30 or half past 3. It is not quite yet 4 o'clock. Okay, look at, oh, just a second. It's taking a moment to think. Okay, look at this clock and think about what time is it? Okay, you should have come up with 7:30 or half past 7. Okay, the hour hand is between the 7 and the 8, so it's definitely 7. It's not quite yet 8 o'clock, and the minute hand is on the 6, meaning that it's 7:30. Okay, just a moment. Another one is about to come up. What time is it now? Okay, you should have come up with 10:30 because the hour hand is between the 10 and the 11. So it is not quite yet 11 o'clock. Okay, so it's 10:30 or half past 10. All right, we're going to play a little bit of a game. Waiting for it to load. And there is some noise in the background, so I'm going to lower my volume a little bit. It's supposed to represent the water, and you can hear like the water lapping. Anyway, we're supposed to put these in order from first to last based on times, okay? So the first one that it's wanting us to do is actually 1 o'clock. So can you look at all the clocks that you have in front of you, and which one is 1 o'clock? You are right. It is this one, and I need to get back my cursor and see if I can grab it. Okay, what comes after 1 o'clock? So we're looking possibly for a 1:30, if that is a possibility. Okay, look at all the clocks. I see 1:30, so I'm going to grab it. What comes after 1:30? Remember, we're just doing it based on half hours. So you should be looking for 2. And I'm looking around and I actually don't see 2 o'clock. So what would come after that? It would be 2:30. I also do not see 2:30, but I do see 3 o'clock. So let's try the 3 o'clock. Good. All right, what comes after 3 o'clock? Okay, you should have come up with 3:30. Great. What comes after 3:30? Good. 4. What comes after 4 o'clock? So I don't see a 4:30. Okay, this has to be it, right? So this is 5:30. What would come after 5:30? You are correct. This is 7:30. What would come next? So it's getting later and later and later in the day. Okay, let's try 10 o'clock. What would come after 10 o'clock? I know this is a little bit to the point where you can't see it, but it does say 11:30. You can tell what it's pointed to. And then last but not least, the hour hand and the minute hand are both on the 12, meaning that it's 12 o'clock. Woo! We got it. We got the pot of gold. All right, moving on to the next slide. So here I would actually have you spin this little dial so that we can figure out what we wanted, where we wanted to put the clock. But in this case, I'm just going to do it. So it's 11:30, okay? So I'm going to try to move my hands to display 11:30, and it looks like it's right there. So it has to be between the 11 and the 12 because it's not quite 12 o'clock. And then the minute hand was already on the 6, so I didn't actually have to move that. See if I can spin it again. What does that say? I think it says 11 o'clock. Okay, so let me see if I can move my minute hand up. Wrong way. I need to go the opposite direction. So my minute hand needs to be on the 12, and my hour hand will be exactly on the 11 for 11 o'clock. Let's spin it one more time. And it says 1:30. So I'm going to go forwards. Remember that the hour hand has to be between the 1 and the 2. And then the minute hand has to be on the 6. Okay. All right. The next screen, now I know it is blurry. It is blurry for me as well. However, we're only needing to look at the ones that are half past. And you can clearly tell which ones are pointing to the 6, so which ones are pointing to the 30, and which ones are not. Okay, so just look at the ones that are pointed to the 30. Okay. And I want to really get my pen to work since it wasn't working. Don't know what I'm doing wrong. So, ooh, I got it. So that one we do not want. This one we do not want. This one we do not want. And this one we do not want. Okay? So it said to draw a circle around all the clocks that show time to the half hour. This one would be pointing to the 6. Okay, so I can actually see it even though it's blurry. It's actually 2:30. This one is pointed to the 6, and even though it's blurry, I can tell that the hour hand is between the 8 and the 9, so it's 8:30. This one is pointing to the 6. I can tell the hour hand is between the 6 and the 7, so it's 6:30. And then this one is really hard to see because not only is it blurry, but it has something over top of it. But I can tell that it's pointing down to the 6, and it's in between the 5 and the 6, so it's 5:30. All right, let's get off of that because it's hurting my eyeballs. All right, and then this is going to be your assignment that you are going to find on Google Classroom. All right.